Wow, finally chapter 4. This episode, I want to go into like what I would call a creative rant. I've been going over using the Incrediboxes as tiny homes and trying to do extra things to them. But I want to show you guys some other things that are going on too. This is a reputable company that actually brings prefab ADUs to sites. What I want you to pay attention to are the costs. These are pretty expensive, but they're out in California. Now, of course, Randy's Incredibox starts around $20,000 and up to $25,000 for the base units. And that's why I'm interested in them. But then what we're dealing with here is dealing with the perception of trailer parks and mobile home parks. Now, I threw these articles in here just to show that this has always been the overall perception of dealing with these. I think that can be changed pretty easily. This here is a infill that I'm using in my old neighborhood as an example. This is something I would like to do. But more importantly, this area right here where I'm pointing, that's an area that I grew up in and walked by on my way to school. There's only 2 houses there when I was growing up, but as time passed, nothing ever was built there, and I was always wondering why. First of all, it's really down in a really deep valley, and I believe that it always had maybe some flooding problems or something like that. But as I'm looking at it again, you can see, just take a quick look at, this is what is currently still there. Now, what I would like to do is take that area and use it as an experimental tiny home space. And that is a part of my creative rant. This whole area right now is under what I call gentrification changing, and so, of course, that's the source of my rant. Now, I want to divert your attention to this lot. This is my case study. Right here are 2 ADUs. One is attached to the house, the other is built off of the existing garage. Now, just pay attention to the fact that we just talked about the cost of an ADU. That's even a prefab. Now, this is my idea of putting a mobile tiny home there, and they're simply converting the existing garage over to an ADU. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 2 of the Incrediboxes, or 1 Incredibox and an AddABox, and see what I can do and create something new for this area. Now, this is the idea that I'm looking at right here. This is 2 Incrediboxes put together with maybe just a simple porch. Now, on there you can see above here in this overview that I'm actually using the audacity to put an island in this thing in 8 feet. Now, the island is rolling, but if you look, also we're looking at 2 bedrooms with quite a bit of storage, and I have a different idea that I want to use as far as the going into the bathroom. I want to use a barn door to go into the bathroom. Now, if you look, there's a lot of storage in these 2 bedrooms and places to hang clothing. And then over to the right, there's a storage space over the bathroom that's done originally with Randy's. This is the rolling island that I decided to use as far as this. What it does is it folds down. So you're looking at, what, 30 inches to do that? So here, this is just kind of a quick walkthrough of going into that space. This is something that I just kind of mocked up. You see the island right there. And I'm using shelves, and I'm also using shelves up high because I don't want to attach lights to the ceiling or to the walls. So I'm using the shelves as a source for puck lights. And then this is kind of a standard 2-foot deep configuration. I normally don't like doing that, but in this case I'm giving it a shot to see if I can gain some space from the island. Now, as I go into this bedroom, you can see that I have a hanging clothing rack. I'm moving kind of slow because I want to show you that I have wall cabinets above for storage. And then I also have wall cabinets over the clothing rack. And also, if you look on the bottom, there's a place for shoes and drawers down there. Now I'm going to go into, and you'll see up there above, that storage above the bathroom, like Randy has in his home. I'm using an IKEA sink. Instead of having the shower, I created a wet shower. That's a different idea that I wanted to try to experiment with this. And then you could use different types of beds, but I think that this is not a bad idea. In the meantime, I'm actually going through and just showing, and I'm actually stalling for time. But this is a dining room table or something that you can use here, and just to give you an idea that you can look in. Now, as far as the screen porch, you can substitute glass or sliding glass and then make it a true sunroom, and you'll gain space. Now, I'm just showing how that is relative to the existing house, and then taking that existing garage, which I did not show an ADU on, but that would be an ADU. That's kind of the idea that I want to try to implement on this creative rant for, for something that you would see in terms of urban. Now, this is pretty much my conclusion for MTHs for a moment. What I want to try to do on my next creative rant is something like, let's say, a shipping container. Now, this is the Incredibox from the last episode. Now, what I did this time is I just simply added a container to it. Now, the container is strictly for storage. I'm not using it for anything else but that. But just to be a little ornery, I threw a deck on top of it with a pergola. And you can see it has steps and the whole deal. This is something that I haven't seen done before, but I think it's not a bad idea. There's so many different ways and so many different things that you can do with these things. But shipping containers, I want to keep them strictly for storage because the Incredibox is good enough on its own where I wouldn't even want to do something. But what if we mix them? Let's say, for example, this is the dual one that I just created. Now, this is another Incredibox. This is the dual combo with a container, and it's stretching over a 60-foot span. Now, if it's over a 60-foot span, then it's the exact same thing, but then now I have room to do more creative things, like maybe a hot tub on top of the container, storage below, place to sit and relax. Now, in this example, you can see it works in two different areas. I can use it in the desert, I can use it in Tennessee, I can use it in Kansas City, I can use it pretty much where I want. So this here is kind of the rant that I'm actually looking at. Is it practical? Probably not, but it is an idea. And again, this is a 60-foot wide configuration, just to give you kind of an idea. So you guys kind of tell me what you think about this. Just another idea. I'm just having a good time with it. Tell me what you think. So why MAETOGA? Because we're in a crisis, an affordability crisis, and it's getting worse by the day. And we have to change the way we do things. And if we do that, I believe we won't be so dependent upon others to make things happen for us. That's the reason why I'm looking at things like this and why I'm interested in the first place. But throw your ideas out there. I mean, this is for dialogue. I don't know everything, but I do welcome ideas, and maybe we can all eventually have a decent place to live and not pay so much for what we're living for. This is MAETOGA.